views expressed are not necessarily those of Salisbury University, the University System of Maryland, its regents, administration, officers, employees, or
Good evening. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Travis Nardella, joined alongside by Kara Bodnar. We're going to start tonight with some baseball. Yesterday, a disappointing 10-5 loss to Christopher Newport University. And now, their pitching was kind of back to just being
touch and go.
Yeah.
Touch and go.
Pete Grasso went 3 1/3 innings. He gave up 5 runs on 6 hits. And then Connor Shockley came in relief, and he looked good until the 9th inning.
Yeah, no, you could tell by at the end of the 8th, going into the 9th, that Shockley started getting a little tired. As the 9th started going, there was, someone got hit by a pitch, then there was a few walks, and then there was an error, and then there was a few more walks, and then of course, at a 3-2 count, Kyle Forcia just bombed a grand slam, and it was obvious that Shockley was getting tired, and they just needed to pull him.
Yeah, so he pitched the final 5 2/3 of that game, and then like you said, you can just clearly tell in the 9th inning he wasn't in it at all. He finished with 7 walks allowed, did not throw a single strikeout, gave up 5 runs, only 2 of them earned. So this year, Salisbury, they only scored 5 runs yesterday, and you say only scored 5 runs, like that's a bad thing in baseball. But they're 2-4 in games this year, scoring under 5, and it's the first time that they've done that since March 19th against Frostburg State. Mm-hmm. Is that, so close to the end of the season? Do you think it's a little bit concerning that against another good team, their offense kind of...
I think that it definitely is concerning at this end of, they're at the end of the season. CACs, those start next week. If your pitching is not together, offensively, they might have had an off day with their hitting and whatnot, but it's the end of the season. Your pitching should be at, hopefully, everyone's dream is that everything is in sync by come the end of the season. That way playoffs come and you're already on a good roll. But with their pitching just kind of touch and go as it's been, it's 1 week they're hot, 1 week they're not. And for it being the end of the season, it's almost concerning, from a coaching standpoint for them.
Yeah, we mentioned it last week, how their pitching has had good games. Connor Shockley had a complete game. Ian Scheidemann through, what was it? It was 8 innings or something there.
Yeah.
And Pete Grasso was named CAC Pitcher of the Week.
Yeah, and then it was the ECAC South Pitcher as well.
So they have had good pitching, and then a game like yesterday happens, they give up 10 runs, 5 of them in 1 inning. And this is a very big weekend coming up for Salisbury baseball, and really for the entire Capital Athletic Conference. Mm-hmm. Final weekend in the regular season. If you look at the standings for the CAC right now, the top 5 teams are all separated by 2 games. Christopher Newport split a doubleheader today with Penn State to be 9-7 in 5th place. Meanwhile, Frostburg and Salisbury are tied at 11-5 in 1st place. And with this being the final weekend of the regular season, every single team is in action, playing pretty much a doubleheader on Saturday. If Salisbury wins, they're playing Penn State Harrisburg. If they win their doubleheader, there's a chance that they're number 1 in the conference and they're hosting come tournament next weekend. But there's also a chance that they finish in 5th place. So how important is it that they get 2 quality starts against Penn State this weekend?
They need to get 2 quality starts against Penn State this weekend. There is no questions about it. Even if they were to split, they have to do well this weekend offensively, defensively, pitching-wise. They'll be able to have Ian Scheidemann, Jeff Oster ready to pitch, which is very helpful and for their pitching bullpen and everything. And this weekend they need to win. They need to get off to a good start. They need to have a solid lead and just stay consistent instead of going hot and cold throughout the game.
Yeah, and also it's a very big game for Penn State. Right now they're sitting outside of the top 6. Top 6 make it to the tournament. they need to win to get into the CAC tournament. And you saw it, like I mentioned today, they split a doubleheader. The first game went to extra innings against Christopher Newport, a ranked team who beat Salisbury yesterday. So obviously we know that they are good enough to play in a pressure game against a good team. And it's just Salisbury needs to show up on both sides of the ball this weekend and just win both games of the doubleheader. I think they need to win both games of the doubleheader.
Yeah, they can't go in there thinking that just because it's a team that's on that possibly being in the playoffs, possibly not, and that they're higher ranked than them, they can't go in there just assuming that they're going to win. They need to go in there going as if they're playing against Frostburg and go all out.
Yeah, if they are able to lock up the first seed in the CAC, they'll play the sixth seed, which possibly could be it could be Christopher Newport still, but it also could be Penn State, and just from there it goes downhill. They could still be the second seed and at least play a home game on a Tuesday, but they need to win. So now we're going to switch over to a team that knows how to pitch,
Oh, yes.
and it's softball, and they are just the most dominant team right now in Division III, in my opinion. Wouldn't you think so?
I would definitely agree with that. They did just get the top 5 ranking for the nation, so they are 5th. This weekend was huge for them from Sunday to Monday to playing. Like, every game they've played so far has just shown how well this team has clicked and come together. Pitching has gone well. Offensively, they've been doing great. So I really think right now softball is at a great spot going into playoffs and going into the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, so yesterday they played a doubleheader on the road against Wesley. Won both games 6-0 and 14-0. Anna Brittingham in the first game, 5 innings, 4 hits allowed, 8 strikeouts. And Brooke Mizell in the second game, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits allowed, 7 strikeouts, both of them shutouts. Between the two of them, Mizell and Brittingham, they're just dominant.
Oh, yeah.
I was just looking at their schedule. So they have 27 wins this year. 15 of them are shutouts. 14 of them they've won by the 8-run rule, and 13 of them they've scored at least 10 runs. So with their offense and their pitching, I don't know if there's any team that could stop them.
Yeah, no, right now everything, as I said, everything is clicking. The seniors, they picked it up, with the RBIs that they had and the home runs they've had this weekend. Molly Simpson, she's now first in the nation with 11 home runs. And then Paige Grossman right behind her is with 10 home runs on the season. Then on top of that with the pitching, Mizell, she had, I want to say it was 9. Yeah, she had 9 strikeouts on Sunday as well. So everything for them, no matter what age, everyone is playing to the top of their game and everyone's contributing to the game.
Yeah, it was a little bit concerning in the beginning of the season. Brooke Mizell coming in as a freshman, replacing the great Rachel Johnson, and they got off to the slow start, 2-3 to begin the season. It was like, oh no, is this going to be a rebuilding year for Salisbury? But since then, since their 2-3 start, they're 25-1.
Yeah.
And they are just absolutely, like I mentioned, they've won more than half of their games by the mercy rule.
Which is that's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. So another big weekend for them. This is the final weekend of the regular season for softball. They have 2 doubleheaders on Saturday at home against Mary Washington, and then the bigger one is on Sunday on the road against Frostburg State. And if you look at the standings for the CAC, Salisbury is sitting in first place right now at 9-1 in the conference. They have 2 less games played than everybody except for also Frostburg. So second place, Christopher Newport, 10-2. They split the doubleheader against them, and then Frostburg is in third place. That's the big one. As dominant as Salisbury's been, they still need to win these final 4 games to secure hosting the CAC tournament.
Oh, definitely. If they go out and they have those CAC wins, the rest of the tournament, they're gonna have the home field advantage. They're gonna be in a place that they're comfortable. They're gonna have the fan base is behind them and everything. It's their field. They're gonna be able to play the way that they want to. I definitely think that to go out and win against Frostburg away. Frostburg, it's a long bus ride. It's draining. And I can say that from when we had to travel there for volleyball, we would get off the bus and the last thing we would want to do is play a game, but you have to be able to pick everything up, get your energy going and play. And with softball, they seem to be doing, no matter what distance they have to travel, they seem to be doing that well.
Yeah.
So hopefully they get these CAC wins and that just secures their first place even more.
Yeah, and softball conference tournament, double elimination, kind of a complicated format. But the only thing that matters is if Salisbury wins out, all the games are at the SU softball field, and they don't have to play until the second day of the tournament. So that's
nice.
That's key. So now on to lacrosse, another absolutely dominating team.
Oh, yes.
We're going to take a look at some highlights from this past weekend. They played against Frostburg State. It was the debut of the brand new Siegel Stadium. As you can see, just look at them, so hyped up for this game. And 2 minutes into the game, Brendan Bromwell was running around. He's just looking for something to do, hands it off to Cirillo, rips a bounce shot right past goalie Tom Kramer, giving the Seagulls an early 1-0 lead. Then later in the first, Salisbury is already up 3-0. Garrett Reynolds has it. He runs past 4 defenders really easily, gives it up to Brady DeShiel, and he gets an easy goal to make it 4-0 now. Into the third quarter, 8-2, Salisbury lead. James Burton running around looking for something to do with it. He's eventually just going to decide and take the shot, and that goes in. Salisbury takes the 9-2 lead. They would go on to win it 13-3. Pretty easily. And now with the win last night against York, they are 16-0 on the season. 16-0 on the season with 1 regular season game left. They already clinched #1 in the conference for the conference tournament. They're going to play, they already know they're going to play the winner of Mary Washington and Frostburg State.
They've been dominating the entire season. I mean, we were saying like last week how if they could get York, that would be huge. If they could win the rest of their games, it'd be huge. I mean, Cabrini coming in this weekend, they're nationally ranked. It's another big game. There's nothing that can stop them right now.
Yeah, Salisbury nationally in the country, #1 in goals per game, #10 in goals allowed, and #2 in margin of victory. But Cabrini is also 9th, 15th, and 6th in those same categories.
Yeah, so they're right there with them.
Yeah, they're right there with them. Cabrini 15th in the country. They lost 3 in a row earlier this season, but since then they've won 4 in a row, and they're right back to being as good as they should have been this season.
Definitely, yeah. Cabrini was going through a little bit of a rough spot, and it's kind of been like their rebuilding years are finally over, and this is where they are now. So I definitely think they're going all out to play. They're ready to just give it all right now.
Yeah, and they definitely don't want to drop this game. They still have, I believe it was 3 more regular season games left in conference play after Saturday. But still, this is a game against the #1 team in the country that they want to show that they can contend with the best going into the NCAA tournament. It's going to be kind of an emotional game on both sides. Cabrini with the 4-game winning streak, but tragedy struck their team. We're not going to really go on about it. But also for Salisbury, they're going for their first undefeated season since 2012 when they won the national championship, 23-0. And also it's their senior day for the regular season. They're going to have a lot more home games in the tournaments, but it's just going to be it's going to be a good game.
It's going to be intense. It's going to be emotional, but it's definitely going to be a good game where both teams show everything that they have. And honestly, if our defense this week was huge for lacrosse. I mean, with Raymond and Leeds both having some of their best career high weeks going into this weekend, that'll be great if it continues.
Yeah, and you look at Cabrini, they have 7 double-digit scores this year, led by Jordan Krug and Evan Downey with 24 each. So that's going to be something that they need to keep their eye on. Meanwhile, Salisbury has 9 double-digit scores, including Thomas Cirillo and Nathan Blandino and Carson Kalama, who are all top 11 nationally. So what do you think is going to happen this weekend?
Oh, geez. Okay. I mean, I definitely think our team can win this game. I definitely think we can. I definitely think that Cabrini, even though they are 15th ranked in the nation and we are #1, they have the different people to give the ball to shoot as well as we do. And they also have some pretty good defenders. Our defenders also did well this week. It's going to be a close game, I think. I mean, I think we'll win. I think we'll come out on top, but it's definitely going to be a close game.
Yeah, I think Salisbury is going to win too. They're outscoring ranked opponents 103-59, including York. They just beat by 12. Christopher Newport, they just beat by 14. So I think Salisbury is going to win it by not a big margin, but not a close game. That's all the time that we have tonight for Sports Night. For Kara Bodnar, I'm Travis Nadella. Have a great night, everybody.